Nothing makes me feel quite as joyful and abundant as harvesting food from our own garden. Like, look at this. Look at all of these bees. This grew on that plant. And now it's in my mouth and it's delicious. For many years, I have wanted to get into tea and like drink tea as like a cool aesthetic hobby to do, but I could never quite get into it. Like, I just didn't like the way it tasted, and despite my aesthetic fervor for tea, I'm not actually willing to do something that I don't enjoy just for the vibes. But recently, I have cracked the tea code, mostly because I got this adorable frog teapot. And it might seem silly, childish, immature even, but I legitimately was so excited to use this frog teapot and drink from this adorable little tadpole that I was finally motivated to figure out the art of tea. And what I have learned, first of all, I've gotten a lot more comfortable with the steeping process, because I think that the timing is a little bit more generous when you're working with a larger amount of liquid. I don't know if that's true or if that's just my vibes, but I feel like the timing on the steeping is a little bit more generous, because previously tea for me would always be like really flavorful and overwhelming and way too strong, or it would be like basically just water. And neither of those really made for a great drinking experience. But in the frog teapot, I really don't find that I have that problem, especially when you're working with bagged tea, which I am, because like at the moment loose leaf tea is a little bit out of my price range. So what I've also discovered with working with a pot instead of just one mug is that blending different bagged teas together, mixing and matching, shall we say, is a lot more likely to create a taste that I enjoy than just using one straight bag. For example, I have this cinnamon sunset tea that has a lot of elements that I really enjoy. Like, I like spicy things, I like cinnamon, I like that flavor, but this is like drinking cinnamon red hots at its full intensity. It's really, really spicy. And I could never really finish a mug of it when I was just steeping it by itself. But when I add in this Bengal spice tea that I also really like, which has similar elements of warmth, but is more predominantly herbal in the way that it tastes, those two things combine into a tea that is delicious. It's warm, it's spicy, but it's like not just spicy. Like, don't get me wrong, it's gonna clear your congestion, but it's not gonna burn my tongue off. And it's really good. It's what I'm drinking right now. I can confirm, it is delicious. I highly recommend it. But that has really opened the door for me to try a bunch of other teas, and I have actually found some that I do like just by themselves, but this has really opened the door for me into a world of teas. And I'm very pleased by that. I think that the next step for me is to get into loose leaf teas and like start getting fancy and experimental with it. I'd also really love to get into the medicinal effects of different herbs and ingredients and start drinking tea for like health benefits. That's really intriguing to me. It feels kind of like potion making, which is very exciting. But to be honest, I'm just really delighted that I have finally spilled tea all over myself. This is what the napkin is for. But to be honest, for the most part, I'm just really delighted that I've finally learned how to like tea, because now it's delicious and it's something that I really enjoy. And like, there is just something about a warm beverage in the morning that is like totally wonderful. told me even just a few months ago that I was going to get a part-time job working retail, and not only was it going to be something that I really enjoyed and look forward to, it was also going to completely transform my mental health for the better and recontextualize everything that I thought I knew about work and effort, I would have looked at you and gone, okay, so I kind of figured that I was going to get a part-time job this summer because, like, money, but are you really trying to tell me that retail is my calling? And I would have told you no, retail is not my calling. That's not what we're talking about here. It's just that getting out of the house has been such a miracle for me because, like, I can say with full confidence at this point, we have all been there with the working from home situation, and like there are parts of it that I really enjoy. I'm so grateful for the fact that I have this space where I can work on creative projects that I really enjoy, but also only existing in this space is kind of exhausting and demotivating and not the best way to spend literally all of my time. And I've definitely noticed in the past few months that I was kind of like slowing down, struggling to find motivation, really just feeling tired and lethargic all of the time. And ever since I've gotten this job, I've got my fervor for life back, and that's really wonderful. Like, I was worried when I first started this job that I would have less time for this channel and for my art, and I would be like sacrificing that aspect of my life in order to, make a few quick bucks. But like, that's actually not at all what has happened. I've actually really found that even just having the like time limit of, okay, I know I can't work on this video on Tuesday afternoons, so I better do it now, right? Like, that has just given me the impetus to actually do what I want to do instead of just perpetually saying that I'll do it later, which is kind of what happened to me before I got this job. And I am really glad that I have had that opportunity, right? I also can very gratefully say that the working experience itself is also pretty good for me. I am not working retail at like a big box store or something. I'm working retail at a small business that is in my neighborhood. It's within walking distance of my house, which is so nice that I don't have to drive. It's also a business that really aligns with my values personally. It's essentially a sustainable home goods store, and I really care about sustainability and eco-consciousness and like reducing waste, and so the fact that I feel like I get to almost like contribute to this project in a way is really cool, and I'm very, very grateful for that because I totally understand that that is not the experience that most young people have with their first job, and I'm just really grateful that this is the opportunity that I have found myself with, and it has definitely been bringing me joy lately and improving my life for the better. But I do actually have to go now, so I'll see you guys later.
Side by side we sway there in all the colors. Summer love, lonesome love.
Somebody with more common sense might think to themselves, it seems like a bad idea to approach the swarming bees. However, I am not that person.